the letter O for the moment because our beautiful Khadija has COVID and is very unwell. So we'll have to come back to O, and we've jumped across to P, which is panicky to peaceful. And I'm here with Aisha. Assalamu alaikum, Aisha.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
So you volunteered to be panicky to peaceful. So that says to me that you understand the difference and have experienced the difference. So tell me, what is life like when you're in a panicky state?
Okay, I'll start by wishing may Allah grant Khadija Shifa and make the COVID a kafara for her. Yeah, being panicky, I think I can say that for a lot of my times in my life, I've been panicky, and it always felt like everything was just going to crash. Nothing was ever going to go the way it was supposed to be. And so it was this kind of state where, I just felt so disorganized and always seemed to be holding on to life. I feel it was going so fast. I had to hold on by the seat of my pants. And
right. So a bit like being on a roller coaster or something, and you're hanging on to the bar with white knuckles, screaming as you're going through all the dippers and everything, right?
Yes, and I do not enjoy roller coasters.
Okay, so that was a really good connection to make then. Because it's not enjoyable being in a panicky state, is it?
At all. Not at all.
So peaceful, that comes from a place of tawakkul, doesn't it? Like what we've discovered is that whole concept in the remembrance of Allah, the hearts find rest. Right. So these days, I understand that you're finding life a bit more peaceful. So what's it like now? What's the difference?
I would say a lot more peaceful. In fact, even saying the word peace just now, I just felt into that space. The way it feels, I see the background behind you today. I always love your backgrounds, but now it's so appropriate because just like the sky there is, that's how it feels, as if I'm on this blue sky and I'm just floating and enjoying life, enjoying the journey through life. Yeah.
That's a really nice way of putting it, the journey through life, because really that is what it is, isn't it? We don't know how long Allah has ordained for us to be in this life, and our job is to journey through it to the best of our ability, pleasing Him. That really is our purpose, isn't it?
Yeah, that's our purpose.
So I think what would be go ahead.
Another thing that just popped into my head is that I'm even comparing the state of Nigeria before and now. And it's so ironic that when we had peace, at that time, that was the time I was always panicky. Whenever I had to be on the road, a feeling will come to me. And I don't know how that feeling comes. I just get so certain that I'm going to die on the road. I just get, and then of course it always turns one back to tawakkul, and then, just being so disturbed. But now, even at the time where things have gotten worse, now this is when I've discovered this. So the peace now, the kind of peace I have now, I did not have it. I don't think I had it even when we had peace in the environment. More peace than now, I would say. The peaceful situation, I would say the situation again, because peace is always there, even when we don't know it's there.
So that's a really good example that it's not the environment that is creating the panicky thoughts or the peaceful thoughts. It's your thinking that is creating that experience around it, because the situation, in fact, has got worse, but your experience has got better. So we were talking about, tawakkul, and it really improves our relationship with Allah. I think it would be interesting to hear your perspective of what being in a Panicky state does in terms of your relationship with Allah.
Yes. So, in terms of my relationship with Allah, like when I'm in a panicky state and I'm thinking of all the things that could go wrong, going wrong, and now Alhamdulillah for imagination. But when it's coming, it seems so real. Whatever you put in your mind is going to happen, and you're living in that state. So it doesn't even allow me time to be present in my 5 daily prayers. From reading the verses of Surah Al-Baqarah in the beginning, we know that the worst state to be is in a state of hypocrisy, and then it has been defined for us the traits that lead to hypocrisy. So I find also that I'm not keeping my promises. I make a promise with full intention to keep it, but then because I'm in that panicky state and I'm so involved in that thinking, then I'm not able to keep my promises. So then the panic increases because, oh, I'm a hypocrite. And that's how it comes at that time. I'm so sure I'm in this worst state. And so it keeps going round, around. I'm not present in my prayers. I'm not keeping promises. It spirals. So it just goes into so many other things. And then I begin to feel that it's all on me. Like it's all on me. And so eventually, without knowing, I get to the place where I'm thinking, if I do this, this will happen. If I do this, this will happen. When it doesn't happen again, like I'm back to panicky. But then remembering that all this is not in my hands, my own part is to trust in Allah and calm down. And just as being grateful with material things, being grateful even for what I am able to do, now it brings back the right state of mind, which is we can't achieve or be anything except with our trust, belief, and trust in Allah. And once I let go, I found that my tawakkul, again, I'm recognizing it, I'm seeing it better, I'm understanding, and knowing that I'll never completely understand. Again, it's a journey towards deepening iman and tawakkul and taqwa. And so at the end of the day, it all comes back to it's not up to me. It's just trusting in Allah and being the human being I'm meant to be, as you said. It's, you reminded me once, you said you always seem to be in a place, I have to do. You're a human being, just be. And alhamdulillah, I was afraid of being before, but this is what I am, a human being, and I'm being, and my tawakkul keeps increasing. Or I don't know if it's the right word to say, because it's always that I keep seeing, I keep feeling in a state of tawakkul when I let go and just be.
And do you find that when we're in that peaceful tawakkul state, that we show up with more ihsan?
Definitely.
And that covers all aspects of life, doesn't it? Like it covers relationships, it covers our work ethic, it covers everything, right?
It covers everything. It does cover everything. And even though it pops up again, so whenever things seem to get difficult again, then it's so, and I begin to ask again, why me? Why? And then I just remember, oh, you're trying to run things. You're trying to run things. That's to be. So relationships, so I see that relationships sometimes something is happening with my children, and I just feel, again, the stories come, oh God, my child is never going to pray, my child is never going to listen, my child is disobedient. And then I keep seeing I'm feeling unhappy and disturbed, and I see the unhappiness on their faces. When that is happening, I see the rebellion, I see so many things. But then later I realized that, when I look back, I realized that things have actually changed, and all I needed to do was to say what I needed to say, or respond how I needed to respond, and be patient. And when I'm patient, I see the changes. So it didn't have to be with me hammering on and being
So
worried.
it's much easier to be patient when you're in a peaceful state rather than a panicky state too, right?
Yeah, much better. And then I see how so much happier my children are, and I feel happier. And our relationship is flowing along. And I'm saying my children, but with everyone else around me.
Yeah, that's beautiful. So your children are happy then that you're more peaceful than panicky these days.
Yes. They're happier, more cooperative, I would say. We get along better. They're more willing to take on things and listen. And
So, what is the difference? What happened that changed things for you?
okay, so I would say what happened. I think about, I would say, close to 20 years ago, I read a book, The Four Agreements, and there were two things that I could never seem to do: taking things personal, and I can't remember the other agreement, but taking things personal is one of the things. And things would happen. I want to forgive, but I find that I can't forget, and it affects the way. And I kept on wanting to be in that state where I can forgive easily, because this is something that Allah loves, and that is even peaceful for me. And then I came across and back to the Fitrah, I came across the inside out paradigm. And the teachings of the inside out paradigm, I would say the understanding about how all the panicky thoughts as a result of me being stuck in the past, or creating stories about future is going to be, is what is really causing my panic. And it's so because I'll give one example about how panicky I was. It's one of the things I'm always so glad to remember. There was a time when we were in university, we were in our room, and it began to rain, and suddenly the roof began to leak. And immediately I had already started making plans about how to get a room outside of the school, and how to pack our things, because that roof, there was one leak, one leak in the roof. It was so loud. She said, "Aisha, you're an alarmist. Calm down." And then all we needed to do was to speak to the maintenance office, and in minutes, the carpenter came in and repaired the roof. And so this was, so I'd already created a story about how the roof was going to get, the hole was going to get bigger, and there was nothing that was going to be done, and then our whole room will be flooded. So this was the kind of thinking. But when I realized now that that's what really causes the panic, all we need to do is be silent and reflect. Not reflect, be silent, be just silent, because at that time what is happening is that this whole storm of thinking is the one that's causing all the emotions. Just need to be quiet until that kind of thought passes, and then we see clearly what to do. And I know that was such, now I see how so silly it was. But if I can find that at that moment, you can imagine that if that was something that was so alarming for me, you can imagine all the other big things about how much more alarming they would be. But now, in just being aware of my thoughts and knowing that all the feelings I'm getting as a result of my thought and just in, they pass, and I see things clearly.
A whole lot less thinking to do.
A whole lot. We don't need to do all that thinking.
Yeah, alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. And yeah, it just makes life so much easier not to have to panic about everything and to just have faith that everything will be okay. Alhamdulillah.
That's a bit of interference.
Yeah, I can hear that. It's a bit strange.
Yeah.
It sounds like the sound I get when I go snorkeling under the water. But I promise you, I'm not under the water at the moment. Yes, it seems to be just when I talk, right?
How about?
It's
Okay.
fine.
Okay.
It's just me.
Just the system being outside in.
So maybe since when I talk it makes a horrible noise, maybe you can share with them about why it's a great idea to join the inner circle during Ramadan.
Pardon?
So since my voice makes a horrible noise, perhaps you can tell them why it's a good idea to join the inner circle in Ramadan.
Oh. I would say that this, for me, if I had the power or if I had a magic wand to bring everyone into this program, I would, because I really care about people finding this peace, about people connecting to Allah, because that is our connecting to Allah and understanding and being guided and seeing all things that we thought were problems or impossibilities falling away. All comes from connecting with Allah, understanding, getting the wisdom directly. And for me, this is where I got the understanding. So if I had the power to bring people, like, I would. So I hope that as you're hearing this, you'll give it a try and see that this is the place to be, both to understand and get the peace for yourself, the peace and success of this. I don't want to venture into saying that, but I hope that I would just say that for me, this is where I found the peace and the guidance, and I wish and I hope the same for my sisters and brothers, that they would come here, give it a try, and see how this sisterhood and brotherhood place where one finds help for oneself and be able to help others around you. And as long as we're helping ourselves and others, then we are in a state of taqwa, tawakkul. We're holding onto the rope of Allah. And I know as Muslims, we know that that is what keeps us on our purpose. So for me here, joining, especially in Ramadan, where our deeds are multiplied. So I'll just say maybe one last piece of advice: make istikhara, listen to the wisdom from inside you, and I hope it guides you back to the fitrah. And I'll see. And inshallah, I'll say, like, right now I'm lost for words, but I know that, so I'm going to keep silent. And I know that I always ask, one of my du'as is Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli, and I add with waj'al waziran min ahli haruna akhi. So as you come in here, I'm sure that you have much more words to describe this indescribable experience that I'm going through. Yeah.
Jazakallah khair, Aisha. I'm not sure why my sound is so horrible and have had to leave you to do all the talking, but you've done an amazing job. Jazakallah khair. And salam alaikum.
Jazakallah khair, sis. Jazakumullah khair.